You might want to sit down for this one because what you're about to hear is not just messy, it's straight up legendary. Picture this: 2 queens, 1 king, and enough bad blood to fill an entire season of Love and Hip Hop in just one night. Yes, you heard that right. Remy Ma and Claressa Shields didn't just exchange words, they threw hands. Real hands. And baby, the footage is so brutal it should honestly come with a parental advisory sticker. What started as a side-eye turned into a full-blown WWE cage match, right there, in front of cameras, security guards, and a room full of gasping fans who didn't know whether to call TMZ or 911. But what triggered this violent meltdown? Was it jealousy? Betrayal? Or a certain ring that Papoose allegedly promised to Claressa behind Remy's back? Well, buckle up, because we're diving deep into every leaked punch, every shocking scream, and every exposed betrayal that brought 2 powerhouses to their knees. Literally. Trust me, this isn't just a scandal. This is history. Let's get into it. You know what they say, all's fair in love and hip-hop. But after that night, we might need to rewrite that rule too. All's fair, until Remy Ma and Claressa Shields throw actual punches over Papoose. Because trust me, folks, this wasn't just some spicy Instagram rant or a petty subtweet war. This was hands thrown, wigs snatched, bodyguards shaking kind of drama. And somehow the cameras caught it all. Let's rewind a little, shall we? On one side, we have Remy Ma, Bronx's own rap queen. Once hailed for her loyalty, her bars, and let's be honest, her knack for turning minor inconveniences into major assaults. A woman who once said, "I don't fight fair, I fight to win." And apparently she wasn't lying. On the other side, Claressa Shields, Olympic boxing champion, self-proclaimed GWOAT, greatest woman of all time, and now apparently the new object of Papoose's very messy affections. Yes, Papoose, the man who held Remy down through jail. Bids, public scandals, and more loyalty tests than an Amore marathon. But according to our anonymous tea spillers, that loyalty expired. And Claressa Shields was front row and center to catch the fallout. It all started innocently enough. ATI, glitzy industry event, flowing champagne, fake smiles stretched across real enemies. Witnesses say Remy walked in looking like a storm ready to erupt, her eyes darting straight to one corner of the room where Claressa and Papoose were standing just a little too close for comfort. If you thought Remy was going to play it cool, throw a shady glance and keep it pushing. Think again. Sources claim that Remy beelined for the couple, heels clacking like gunshots across the marble floor. She didn't say a word at first, just stood there, staring Claressa down like a final boss in Mortal Kombat. Claressa, being Claressa, didn't back down either. Homegirl dared to smirk. And that, my friends, was the matchstick that lit the entire house on fire. Before a single hand was thrown, the words cut first. According to a leaked voice memo, yes, someone was already recording because the industry never sleeps. Here's what allegedly went down. "You could never." "Be me, sweetheart," Remy hissed, venom dripping from every syllable. "You're just a temporary thrill." To which Claressa allegedly fired back. "At least I'm not an expired mixtape living off jail sympathy." Ouch. You could practically hear the record scratch in the room as every celebrity in attendance tried to act casual while sneakily reaching for their phones. One witness, who we're going to call Source C for dramatic effect, claims, "Man, it was like time froze. Remy just lunged, no hesitation. Like 1 second Claressa was sipping her champagne, the next second, the flute was airborne and fists were flying. Security tried to rush in, but not before the 2 women were grabbing, swinging, and cursing loud enough to set off car alarms 3 blocks away. Tables toppled, champagne bottles shattered, someone's wig, no names, went sailing through. The air like a frisbee at Coachella. And you know the worst part? Nobody stepped in immediately. Because let's be honest, nobody wanted to be the guy who caught a stray punch from either Remy Ma or Claressa Shields. Within minutes, blurry, clips of the brawl hit Twitter, TikTok, and every shady gossip page from here to Zimbabwe. The hashtag started trending instantly. Remy vs Claressa, battle for Papoose, bloody queens. One clip posted by a so-called celebrity security insider showed Remy grabbing a chunk of Claressa's wig, while Claressa swung back with the precision of a championship boxer, landing a clean hit square on Remy's cheek. The crowd? Screaming, phones in the air. Security? Slipping all over spilled champagne trying to break it up, and standing awkwardly to the side? None other than Papoose, looking like he regretted every single life decision that led him to this moment. As the brawl finally started getting ripped apart by security and organizers, Remy was heard shouting across the room, "You can have him! He ain't even worth it!" To which Claressa, bloody lip and all, allegedly shot back, "Oh, trust me, I already do." Mic drop. And just like that, the room exploded all over again. Security dragged both women out while flashes from paparazzi cameras lit up the night like a 4th of July parade. But wait, you thought that was the end? Oh no, besties. Because the real fallout, the lawsuits, the leaked footage, the massive betrayals, was only just beginning. If you thought the actual fight was jaw-dropping, you haven't even scratched the surface of the chaos that exploded afterward. Because the moment Remy Ma and Claressa Shields were dragged out by security, dripping sweat and attitude, the real war shifted online. And trust me, it got uglier than anyone expected. First came the leaks. Anonymous insiders, who, let's be honest, were probably interns live texting from the venue, started feeding shady blogs with every messy detail they could gather. Screenshots, voice notes, even security camera footage from the event started trickling out like some kind of underground Netflix series called The Downfall of Remy and Claressa. One particularly grainy clip showed Papoose awkwardly trying to pull Claressa away from Remy Ma, only to get accidentally elbowed in the face. Yes, Papoose caught a stray. Poetic justice? Maybe. But in the court of public opinion, it was the beginning of the end. Anonymous sources, and I mean sources who wouldn't give their names if you paid them $1 million, began whispering to gossip sites that this wasn't just a drunken brawl. No, sir. This was a buildup of months, if not years, of jealousy, betrayal, and secret rendezvous behind closed doors. One so-called family friend told a blog, "Papoose and Claressa been messing around for a minute now. Remy knew. She just didn't want to believe it. Tonight was just the final nail in the coffin." Oof. Imagine standing by someone through court dates, jail time, and countless scandals, only to get your heart shattered on a marble floor in front of 200 flashing cameras and the internet. Oh, the internet was feasting on this disaster. Memes popped up within hours. One viral post showed Claressa wearing boxing gloves while standing over a photoshopped Remy Ma lying on the ground, dazed, with a speech bubble saying, "Round 1 goes to me, sis." Another meme had Papoose in the background with a caption, "Bro just wanted some chicken wings and now he's part of World War III." Within 24 hours, and Papoose problems was trending nationwide. Plenty of vivid imagination began coming out of the woodwork. One alleged that before the fight even started, Claressa had been openly taunting Remy by flaunting a diamond bracelet that Papoose supposedly gave her. Another insider claimed that Remy had already confronted Claressa backstage earlier in the evening but was talked down by security. Only for all hell to break loose once cameras were rolling. And then came the piece de resistance, a supposed leaked group chat among Papoose's close friends, where he allegedly confessed to being confused but happy about his connection with Claressa. Confused but happy? Sir, you just got your whole life turned into a public soap opera and that's your statement? Public reaction was savage. Remy Ma's fans, known affectionately as Reminators, flooded social media with prayers, angry posts, and a few poorly edited deep fakes showing Remy knocking out Claressa in imaginary rematches. Claressa's fans, on the other hand, doubled down, calling Remy washed up and pressed and painting Claressa as the victorious underdog finally snatching her crown and her man. Even celebrities couldn't resist jumping in. Fat Joe posted a cryptic tweet saying, "Loyalty is rare. Watch who's standing next to you when the storm hits," which everyone immediately assumed was shade aimed at Papoose. Cardi B, always the messy queen we need, simply tweeted 3 popcorn emojis and let the internet do the rest. And then, because the universe has a sick sense of humor, footage surfaced from a private after-party where Claressa was allegedly seen bragging about winning 2 rings in one night, one on her finger and one that used to belong to Remy's heart. Now obviously Claressa's team rushed to do damage control, claiming she was joking and that her comments were taken out of context. But by then, the narrative was set in stone to the public. Claressa wasn't just a champion in the ring, she was the woman who KO'd Remy Ma's pride, dignity, and relationship in front of the entire world. Meanwhile, Remy Ma stayed suspiciously silent. No Instagram lives, no shady tweets, no diss tracks. Yet sources close to her claimed she was processing everything and considering her legal options, especially given the injuries she allegedly sustained during the altercation. Yes, you heard that right. Word on the street is that Remy's team is preparing to hit Claressa with a hefty lawsuit: assault, emotional distress, public defamation, and who knows what else. And not just Claressa. The event organizers are reportedly in hot water too. Leaked emails suggest that security was warned in advance about the tension between the two women and still failed to prevent the brawl, which means, drumroll please, there could be multiple lawsuits flying around very, very soon. Civil suits, criminal complaints, public relations nightmares. Basically, it's about to get so messy that even Maury Povich would politely excuse himself. And let's not forget the money. Remy Ma was allegedly on the verge of finalizing a multi-million-dollar brand partnership before this fiasco blew up her image like a cheap firework. Now brands are ghosting her harder than a bad Tinder date. Meanwhile, Claressa's management is trying to spin the scandal into a publicity win, but sources say certain sponsors are getting cold feet about being associated with violent behavior. Because apparently, knocking out people in a ring is fine, but knocking out rappers at cocktail parties? Yeah, not exactly brand-friendly behavior. And standing in the middle of this dumpster fire, poor, confused, regretting everything Papoose, who rumor has it has been quietly trying to reconcile with both women behind closed doors. A man truly living proof that sometimes being loved by two women is less fantasy and more absolute nightmare. And just when you thought it couldn't get any uglier, it did. Because after fists flew, wigs were snatched, and reputations got stomped on like cheap carpet, the real bombs started dropping. Not on Twitter, not on TikTok, but in the cold, unforgiving hands of the legal system. Within 48 hours of the footage leaking, whispers turned into full-blown sirens. Remy Ma's team officially filed preliminary paperwork for an assault lawsuit against Claressa Shields. Yeah, full government names, lawyers involved, court dates being quietly discussed in the back rooms of law firms. Sources close to Remy claim she's demanding damages not only for physical injuries, bruised cheekbone, sprained wrist, emotional distress, but also for financial losses. Because remember that brand deal Remy was about to secure? Gone, vaporized like it never existed. Apparently, the company, a major fashion label rumored to be in the high six figures, pulled out hours after seeing Remy's face trending for all. The wrong reasons. And that's not the only check that got snatched away. Other sponsorships, collaborations, and even a possible Netflix documentary deal reportedly started ghosting faster than you can say bad PR. Meanwhile, Claressa wasn't exactly sitting pretty either. Multiple brands that once touted her as a role model were now having second thoughts. One energy drink company allegedly paused her endorsement indefinitely, while a sporting goods brand quietly scrubbed her image from their website. And just to add a little extra seasoning to this disaster stew, the event organizers who hosted the party where the brawl happened? Yeah, they're now facing their own legal threats. Turns out Remy Ma's team is exploring negligence claims, accusing the organizers of failing to provide adequate security despite known tensions between Remy and Claressa. And guess what? Emails started leaking because in 2025, nothing stays secret, not even poorly worded internal warnings. One leaked email allegedly showed a staffer raising concerns about keeping Claressa and Remy separate at the event. It was flagged, it was discussed, and it was ignored, which now makes the organizers look not just incompetent, but possibly liable for the entire bloody circus that unfolded. Papoose, somehow the original center of all this drama, tried to keep his head down. Sources say he's been laying low and refusing to take sides publicly, but in private, the tea is hotter. According to yet another close friend of a cousin, Papoose has been reaching out to both Remy and Claressa separately, trying to calm the storm. Apparently, he's been apologizing profusely to Remy while still maintaining a complicated friendship with Claressa. Translation: he's trying to have his cake and eat it too, and baby, that bakery is burning down fast. The fans have turned brutal. Papoose's Instagram comments are a dumpster fire, people calling him a snake, a traitor, a coward. Memes showing him juggling two phones labeled wife and side chick went viral within minutes. At this point, even neutral fans are begging him to just pick a side or at least pick a therapist. Meanwhile, Remy Ma's publicist released a statement that sounded professional on the surface but was pure scorched earth shade underneath. It read, and I quote, Reminisce Mackie is focusing on her recovery, her family, and her future endeavors. She refuses to let temporary distractions deter her from her purpose. Temporary distractions? Girl, if that's not a backhanded slap disguised as a PR statement, I don't know what is. Clarissa's camp, desperate to salvage her image, tried their own spin. Her manager posted a note saying, Claressa regrets that emotions escalated but remains proud to stand up for herself in the face of public disrespect. Which, if you read between the lines, basically says, yeah, I clocked her and I'd do it again. And just when the internet thought things might calm down, leaked DMs surfaced, allegedly showing Claressa and Papoose still communicating despite the fallout. Messages like, sorry it went down like that, I still got mad love for you. Screenshots exploded across every major gossip blog within hours. New hashtags emerged. Remy deserved better. Our Papoose plays too much. Claressa caught slipping. And if you thought fans were outraged before, multiply that by 10. Petitions started popping up calling for brands to drop Claressa entirely. Meanwhile, Remy Ma's loyalists demanded she drop a diss track and end careers. Rumors even hinted that Remy had hit the studio within 24 hours of getting out of the ER because, let's be real, nothing heals a bruised ego like a savage 16 bars. Behind the scenes, legal teams for both women were gearing up for a drawn-out battle. Lawyers requesting security footage, building witness lists, and allegedly preparing for a messy televised trial if settlements aren't reached quickly. Because, let's face it, with this much public attention, neither Remy Ma nor Claressa Shields can afford to just sweep this under the rug, not when the world is salivating for updates like it's the next season of Power. And the saddest part in all this, 3 people who once ruled their respective kingdoms, Remy with her bars, Claressa with her gloves, and Papoose with his loyalty image, are now tangled in a scandal so messy that even if they win the lawsuits, they've already lost the most important thing: public trust. Fans who once rode for them through thick and thin are now watching with side eyes, popcorn in hand, wondering who's lying, who's manipulating, and who's going to crash and burn first. And as of today, nobody's winning, nobody's clean, and nobody's career